have to bring your attention to not just the best movie of the year, of last year anyway, 2015, but perhaps the best movie you've ever seen. Possibly. Not from an artistic point of view, but from a content point of view and a deep resonating message for humanity and a warning for humanity. It's the best movie, perhaps, of the decade. It's called The Big Short. This movie is an absolute must-see. If you like my podcasts, or even part of what I say on my podcasts, if you enjoy naturalnews.com, if you are a critical thinker who understands at least the fundamentals of economics, and you know just how deeply we're all getting screwed by the big banksters and the Federal Reserve central banking system and the corrupt criminal government and the ratings institutions like Standard & Poor's and Moody's, if you understand even an inkling of just how much we are all being screwed by this criminal system of banks, then you have to see The Big Short. Now, the movie stars Christian Bale. Brilliant acting job, by the way. Not that that's my point here. I'm not here to fawn over actors, but he did a great job. Steve Carell, also a fantastic job. I think he played Mark Baum. Ryan Gosling, and Brad Pitt has a smaller role in the movie. But the writer and the director, Charles Randolph and Adam McKay, absolutely brilliant. Just freaking brilliant. This is the movie that I would make if I were a movie maker. It is so damn good. This movie tells the story of what happened with the 2007-2008 subprime housing bubble crash. It tells the story that the status quo never wants you to hear. In fact, HBO did a movie about this, and it was total BS, complete propaganda, glorifying Hank Paulson and Greenspan and all these big bankster crooks, and it was a total whitewash. The HBO film. That was, what, a year ago, 2 years ago? I don't remember exactly. Maybe 2 years ago. But The Big Short from Adam McKay and Charles Randolph just freaking nails it. This is the free speech version, telling you the real story of what happened. And it's brilliantly done. It's kind of a semi-documentary style of filmmaking. It has the feel of a documentary, but it is acted by professional actors like Christian Bale, and yet it has an authenticity to it, to the language, to the editing, to the principal photography, everything about it. It's just whoa! It's just so authentic. It gives me chills thinking about how good this movie is. And I don't get excited about Star Wars and Disney films and other propaganda from the establishment. Myth makers, the narrative propagandists of our time. I hate all that crap. But this movie stands out. It is like a shining beacon of truth in a society and a culture of depravity and just that is just imploding into total insanity. And I gotta say, sometimes this character, Mark Baum, the Mark Baum character played by Steve Carell, is someone that I can identify with in some ways. I'm not as angry as that character. I actually take a more whimsical attitude about the societal collapse that's unfolding before us. But I have a lot in common with that character in terms of studying what's happening and knowing that the whole world is wrong on issues like this. In fact, I'm on the record, if you search naturalnews.com, my website, for stories about the housing bubble, I was writing about that in, I believe, 2005, 2006, 2007. I was telling people the housing bubble is going to crash. Told people well ahead of time, just like I called the dot-com crash. I started warning about that in 1998, 1999, and in 2000, of course. The whole world said, no, you're crazy. The rules have changed. The markets will never go down again. No one will ever have to even work because everybody's going to get rich off the dot-com stocks. The fundamentals don't matter. The companies don't need customers. They don't need revenues. All they have to have is more valuation and more people to buy into these higher valuations. That was the argument in 2000. And I know a lot of you listening, or some of you, I should say, probably weren't adults during that time, so you don't have the memory of how insane society was. You had Jim Cramer on TV and screaming about buy every dot-com stock. You had stocks skyrocketing into multi-billion-dollar valuations when they had zero customers. I mean, you had companies like Enron making money on because they would book ideas as having asset value on their accounting books. Just having an idea was enough to log in like a $200 million asset. This is the kind of stuff that went on then and is still going on now. And so The Big Short really nails this. It really brings it together with an incredible depiction of the complete insanity and fraud that happened in 2005 through 2008, resulting in a massive crash that rippled with such ferocity across the globe that it actually threatened the global financial system with total collapse. And that's why, of course, the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury had to generate $1 trillion and then another $1 trillion later on to bail out these banks, to save, Bank of America and J.P. Morgan and, oh, goodbye, Bear Stearns. Guess you didn't have the right friends in Washington. This is what happened. And by the way, have you, this movie just scratches the surface. Have you ever considered the fact that if the federal government can create $1 trillion just like that overnight to bail out these banks, do you ever realize they could easily print the $2 trillion to $3 trillion that they get from taxing you? Have you ever stopped to consider the fact that you paying taxes is a total hoax? They don't need your money. They can create it in an instant to fund everything. They don't need your money. Your money doesn't fund the government. They can just create it like they did when the housing market crashed. The reason taxes exist is to keep you down, to prevent the middle class from becoming the upper class. It's to keep you occupied, buried with your nose in the numbers so you don't have ideas like revolution and revolt and overthrow. It's all about social control. The entire tax system is about social control. It has nothing to do with revenue for the government. They don't need your money, not one damn penny of it. But that's another discussion. The bigger truth, as The Big Short unveils, is that the entire system is rigged against the working class of America. The entire system. You are expendable. You exist only as some generator of financial wealth that can be exploited or extracted or confiscated or stolen by the institutions of government and banking. That's it. That is your only role in society. Consume, purchase, take on debt, hand over your paycheck, pay your taxes, hurry up and die. That is really the life cycle of you in the wage slave society known as the United States of America. And this movie, The Big Short, really lays it out and explains some of that, not all of it, but explains a lot of that in such a compelling, driven, just fascinating, intriguing story. Once you start watching this, you can't get your eyes off the screen. This is a captivating film that dares to unveil the truth that the status quo system is terrified you might one day discover. And that's why you got to see this film. If this were any other totalitarian country in the world, they would have banned this film. They don't want people to know this much. I mean, it is educational. The film is brilliant in the fact that it teaches you what is a credit default swap, what is a CDO, how does this system work. They use visual aids and they weave it into the story. They have a tower of Jenga blocks on the desk labeled with the different grades of mortgage debt. AAA, AA, B, double B, and so on. And they teach you these concepts of economics and debt without you even realizing that you're learning. So they have some really brilliant little strategies, storytelling strategies to do that. And it's, again, comes down to the brilliance of the director, Adam McKay, who just did an absolutely superb job with this film. What else can I say about this? Go out and watch the film. Rent it. I don't know where it's available. Maybe it's on Amazon Prime or Amazon Movies or Netflix, or I don't know where it's available. But find it, find The Big Short, and watch it. You will love this film, and it will teach you things that you can't even begin to realize right now. It will teach you things that will help you understand what's coming, because what happened in 2008 is just the beginning. And I'm telling you, like Mark Baum was saying in 2007, there is a bigger crash coming, much bigger. And it is inevitable. It is a systemic global debt failure that's going to sweep through the system and gut banks and destroy deposits and destroy investors. We're talking about hundreds of trillions of dollars, perhaps a quadrillion dollars in global debt, derivatives debt, leverage debt that's going to unravel in a systemic implosion and collapse that human civilization has never seen before. If The Big Short is a big deal, then what's coming someday here soon is going to be the really big ass short, perhaps, or the great Big Short. It's coming. The problem is you don't know how to time it. I don't either. And I'm not trying to. I'm not betting against the market right now anyway. It's hard to time it because they can always commit fraud and break the law in other ways to keep the system afloat for as long as possible, like they did with the housing bubble. They will always do that in the markets. They're manipulated. They have the plunge protection team in place and other strategies to defraud investors. So it's hard to tell when it's going to crash, but the big crash, the really Big Short, is coming. Until that happens, while you still have a bank account and your credit card still works, go out and watch The Big Short by Adam McKay and Charles Randolph. It's a fantastic film. Must see. It's on my must-see list. Thanks for listening. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, healthrangerreport.com and talknetwork.com.